So my background, in crypto, a lot of the time I spent was with like my first time in crypto was mostly with the BitShares community. And the BitShares community, the one thing that Dan Larimer was really good at was iterating really fast. Like he was very quick to want to experiment things and to try new things. And right about that time is the same time that Ethereum was starting to come up. And we were just watching how Ethereum was doing all these things that were literally years behind what BitShares was doing because it was having so many more experiments with governance, with how to do a DAO, how to do like all these things. They were being done in BitShares long before Ethereum even did their first one. And then years later, they would come out like it's some great new thing, and we just kind of chuckle. It's just like we did this like a year ago, and the reason that was interesting was because it helped us to learn those lessons much faster, going through those experiences. And the same thing has happened with peer plays, where we've had experiences and we've learned from things over the course of the last 5 years that a lot of these new projects haven't done yet, or they haven't they haven't pursued those same kind of lessons, right? Some of them, they've had a lot of VC backing. They cater to maybe big institutions and things like that. And because of that, the systems they're going to create are ultimately going to be for serving them because they need to be able to get their value back from what they put in. And so the decision making that's going to go into it will be, is this going to make us money? Right. And unfortunately, for everybody who's getting into the space and looking at these projects, they see the potential, but the backing that's going on behind, like what's happening behind closed doors, so to speak, and who's serving, really isn't going to lead to the place that people think it's going to go, right? So peer plays, on the other hand, we've taken these lessons. We started in the beginning where there was a part of our project where we were backed by a publicly traded company. Like there was that input that was happening, and it did impact the way that things went. Now that's no longer the case. Now it's completely open. Now we can do whatever we want without having to worry about, who's this serving, right? It ultimately has to be for the good of the Pure Plays blockchain, but how's that look, right? So where we see ourselves is more so probably the biggest difference in terms of like Pure Plays compared to other projects is first off, we are positioning ourselves to be cooperative. We're not looking to compete, right? I know that there's probably one other project out there, Cosmos, which has taken on that kind of a stand. Uh, w- how that plays out, I don't know. Again, I don't know much about where their backing comes from or who they serve. Uh, but I think that Peer Plays, as far as like who we're interested in serving, is basically coming down to providing the tools for the people to be able to have the advantage for once in the world, that this technology and that blockchain has promised, right? Uh, we may not have the like we may not be the only ones, right? Um, I think that it's a matter of how it's applied. I think that it's a matter of the approach that we take, right? Humanizing crypto is something that nobody else is doing. What does humanizing crypto look like? It means aligning yourself with in a way that puts meaning before money. And when we do that, it provides for a channel that changes the way we transact. It changes the way we perceive um, the tools that we use, right? It's no longer a product or service, which is how a lot of the space is. It's now a companion to the way you live, to the way you do business, to the way you communicate, right? It's a companion to everything you do. So things like AI, for example, um, there's a lot of people in the space that are just terrified of the idea of Google or some of these big companies coming out and having some kind of AI that's going to just like run their lives and they're going to have no control over it. And it's going to belong to this giant company. What if we can introduce tools that allow people to have their own personal AIs, right? And allows them to be able to have, again, that humanizing factor that allows them to have control over it, over that aspect of their lives versus, again, a product or service that turns them into a product, right? So I think that I think that in terms of Pure Play's difference from the rest of the crypto space, it really comes down to our approach and our application and the way that we're doing things. As far as the technology goes, we've done some very interesting things. We actually have a very talented team, which I would say is probably in the top. I'll say safely we're in the top 10 of talented devs, which are able to create real innovation in the space, and that's something that that's needed in this space, and not a lot of them are doing that. A lot of it is again, what's going to make the money? How's it? How are they going to make money for their VC backers? And when you have that kind of influence backing a project or backing a system, we are right back to square one with introducing the same kind of systems we've had that are failing now, only introducing it with a new type of technology. And so that's no good. That's not what people want. We can see the uh, social fallout from all of that. So we need to create something better. We need to create something that's new. We need to take the lessons learned from the last several years in crypto and start to introduce new ways of governance, new ways of transacting, and not be afraid to understand that that is where the world is going, right? So I see this wave that's coming up on the industry, not just the industry, but the world at large. And if we can position ourselves in the right place at the right time, then you catch that wave, and now you ride it. You don't do that, then you end up getting you know taken out like on a tsunami, and you're done. So I would rather have us in the right place at the right time. I think that Pure Plays, in terms of the approach it's taking, is different from the rest of the space. I believe we'll see more appeal to a larger audience, not necessarily just crypto fans, but the world at large that's looking for an alternative to what's going on in the world today.